This podcast contains advice that should never be followed, spoilers you'll wish you hadn't heard, and language you wouldn't teach to children.
When you've been cooped up indoors and quarantine bites, it's time for Agony Art Lockdown Lights.
Welcome to Agony Art Lockdown Lights, the bite-sized version of the Agony Art podcast in which we tried to solve your problems, not using our own brain power. No, sir. Instead, by telling you how these problems were solved in the great art of our age. And when we inevitably fail to solve those problems, at least you're left with a fun reading, listening and watching list to enjoy in your spare time. Yes, we have done what we said we would never do and started recording remotely because it had just been too long since we'd heard our own voices on the internet. My name's Aaron, and I'm an occasional reader of books, and I've got Carl, our fantastic film forager, and Liam, our meandering music maestro, here with me in our virtual studio, where the producer is a robot, and our only listeners are Google and the NSA. Say hello, lads.
Hello.
Hello, lads.
We're back!
We're back!
Is that the excited "we're back" screech that you were
That you've
practicing?
been working on, yeah. How long did it take you to perfect it?
It's actually from Independence Day. Do you know the crazy guy?
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you excited to be back? Are you pleased to be back?
Yeah.
Have you listened to the previous episodes and, picked up tips and, criticised yourselves? Like massaged an internal hatred? Cultivated a real self-hatred that you're going to fix in these future episodes? Or
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I was present for the recording of the last episode, so I definitely haven't listened to him.
Really?
I find him hilarious. I love him. Yeah, I'm a real big fan of Agony Art.
Biggest fan of your own podcast.
Yeah. I've got to say, though, where you notice mistakes that are just crazy, like you think, how the hell did I make that mistake? It is terrible. And there is one thing that sticks out for me where I said something like, I've got a closed list of friends, which sounds like the most arrogant thing anyone could ever say.
Look, I've got too many friends, guys.
Yeah. I'm not taking any more applications. But
You can join a waiting list.
it definitely wasn't the point I was trying to make, but if people stop subscribing because of that, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Well, look, we don't need more subscribers. We've got a closed list of subscribers, okay?
Yeah. Now 14 will do just fine, thank you.
Yeah. 14 subscribers is enough for us. We can't reveal too many stats like that, though, Carl.
No.
What we really meant was 1,400, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't. I just plucked that out of the air, but
Yeah. Maybe we should do a giveaway when we reach certain milestones. People like a giveaway online, don't they?
yeah, Liam can give a guitar lesson in his house to a random listener.
We'll put the address on the Instagram post as part of the giveaway, so that, like, if people want to come and watch the guitar lesson, they can.
Yeah.
Look at his nervous face.
I thought you said give a guitar away.
You can do that as well if you want, Liam. That's generous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit too generous, I think.
I'm actually trying to give my saxophone away at the moment.
Oh, I'm surprised that isn't getting snapped up. Have you put it on, like...
I've not done it, advertised it anywhere.
I'll have it.
You're not doing a very good job.
I'll have it. We'll stick it in the theme tune.
All right, good. I think we've gone on about our own podcast enough now.
It's great. Subscribe, download, rate.
This is the bit we're going to listen back to and be like, why did we say all of this stuff?
Yeah,
People are going to be
edit this out.
unsubscribing.
Yeah, so before we begin, I want to make it very clear that we're not really here to solve your life's hardest problems. All of our submissions are certified 100% trivial or fictional pickles, and our advice should almost never be followed, especially not during these crazy times when even the best advice might turn bad within a week. We're really only here to have fun, so if you're having a really hard time, I would recommend hitting up our website for guidance on who to turn to. That's agonyartpodcast.com. So, with that admin out of the way, here is our first problem of the day. Problem 1. I'm sick of Zoom quizzes and Teams meetups. I know they're the only way that we can all stay in touch during these weird times, but I just want the odd Friday or Saturday evening to myself. Why do people have to make me feel so guilty about wanting to chill out in front of the telly instead of watching them get quiz questions wrong over a bad internet connection? Have you two been doing a lot of Zoom quizzes?
I do one a week. I do
One a week?
Jay Flynn's
Weekly?
virtual pub quiz. You familiar with Mr. Flynn?
I've heard about it.
He's
big, isn't it?
He's the guy who won. Not won. You don't win MBEs, do you? But he got given an MBE.
Oh, in the MBE giveaway when the Queen got over 10,000 followers.
We haven't done any this time round. We did it every week in the first time round, but not this time.
Yeah, we did quite a lot in the first one, with friends and family and stuff. I think we've done poker nights as well, haven't we? Us lot.
Yeah, it's always been good fun.
I think we got the formula right though, didn't we? We've only done 2 in a year, and that's irregular enough that you don't get sick of it.
I got sick of it. I've never lost so much money in my life.
What, a £5?
I'm a very conservative gambler.
Oh, well, who wants to start the art examples to help our friend? Oh, no, wait. Think of a name.
The classic. We're back. We really are back. Yeah, I love it. What's that geezer? What's the quiz guy's called? Should we call it him? Maybe
Isn't
he's
it-
sick of quizzes.
Oh, you mean Jay? I was going to suggest Charles Ingram.
Let's just call him Ingram. Well, Ingram, we've got some tips for you. Starting with...
Mine's pretty dark, so we might want to be light-hearted first.
Or maybe we should start with the darkness so that we can get away from it quickly.
Okay, we'll do that then. So I'm going to do an Aaron and say that I've not watched this film
classic Carl.
because it's a horror film and I don't like horror films. Well, I don't mind some of them. Like we were talking about the Shining and the Shining sequel recently, us three, and
The Shinning.
The Shining.
When you say you don't like horror films, is that because of the quality or because you don't like being scared?
I don't mind being scared while I'm watching it, but I don't like hiding under my duvet afterwards. I've got quite an active imagination and supernatural stuff. Like I'd rather an axe murderer come into my house than a ghost, because you know what you're dealing with there, don't you?
What if it's a friendly ghost like Casper?
But you don't know that, do you? You might act friendly and then do something
What if it was
unfriendly.
the ghost of an axe murderer? Because then at least the axe murderer's dead. So you haven't got to deal with him.
Yeah, that's probably the best
His
scenario I can think of, actually, yeah. Okay, so this film's called Host, and it's from 2020, so recent, June 2020 it came out. Another reason I haven't watched it is because it's exclusive to Shudder, which is a horror movie subscription.
Do you think we're going to reach the point where there are too many subscription services?
If you have them all, it's more than Sky now, isn't it? Like, cost-wise.
Are we heading for market saturation?
I think so.
Or are we already there?
I think we're already there. You know, there's Prime, there's Netflix, there's Disney Plus now. There's
Shudder.
something else I've forgotten about.
Shudder. Discovery Plus.
There's going
Saw
to
an
be
advert for that yesterday.
HBO Max, which is going to have things that I want to see on it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple TV Plus.
I've got that
Now
as well.
TV. All these things. The Hulu, is that one? I don't know.
That is
We
one.
should point out to our listeners that other streaming services are available.
I think we named them
They
all.
are. I think we named them all, yeah. We're anything but fair.
So go on, Carl. Sorry. So it's on
Okay.
Shudder.
Yeah, it's called Host, released June last year and directed by Rob Savage. So this film it's something to note. This film might sound like a real B movie, and it probably is, but it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes across 77 reviews. It's a very interesting format. So this guy Rob Savage, I don't know much about his background, but I don't think he's not an out there filmmaker. He just he was on a Zoom with his friends and he played a prank on them, like scared them shitless basically. And he said the result was so effective when you watched it back that he made this film, which is the length of a Zoom call. So the whole film is 56 minutes, including the credits, and it all takes place on Zoom. So you see Zoom panels essentially. So it's a cool concept. Still not going to watch it.
So you don't know what happens in it, or you don't want to reveal?
No, I'm going to reveal everything.
I
right.
can tell you how
Spoilers.
it ends right now. You get a little panel pop up and it says your meeting time has expired.
Liam is bang on. That is what happens. So starting with the ending, Tarantino-esque, but no. So the plot, quick summary of the plot. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a group of friends stay in touch weekly with Zoom calls. And they get bored of the quizzes, and so they decide to mix it up. They invite a medium called S01 to hold a seance on Zoom. They could have thought of a cool name for that. No.
Yeah, you're right. That would have been much better.
So as the seance go on, Gemma, there's quite a few characters in it, so I'm not gonna just like summarise who's who, but I'll just say names. But,
you don't want a clueless fiasco again.
I thought that was amazing. Expertly detailed. So Gemma claims to have made contact with a friend that committed suicide. So they think the seance has been a success. They made contact with the dead, and the medium Salem drops off. But it turns out Gemma was just making it up for a laugh. But she awoke an evil spirit by doing that. And then mad shit starts to happen. Hayley's chair is pulled away from her desk sharply. Emma's glass breaks, and Caroline... Oh, this is pretty creepy. Caroline finds a corpse in her attic.
On the Zoom call?
Yeah, I haven't watched this.
What's she doing in her attic on the Zoom call?
Well, maybe it was mobile, not on laptops. I don't know.
Yeah, takes it with her.
So then they get Salem to rejoin to be like, this is kind of fucked up. So can you help us close this seance? But it's too late. And so I'll just summarise some of the characters and what happens to them. Caroline, this is how I'm imagining this happening. Caroline is repeatedly smashing her face on the desk. So can you imagine the Zoom call and she's just like smashing her face?
Sometimes I feel like doing that in work meetings.
Gemma goes to Hayley's house, so I assume this is on a mobile Zoom again, to try and help. I suppose all the power's gone, but they use a Polaroid camera flash to light their way. It's classic. I think Saw did that first,
See, we've got Polaroids, Carl, you and me, and we know that there's only 8 shots in that film.
That's true, yeah.
Before you have to reload.
Do you think they waited until they developed as well to see what's out there?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh shit, 45 minutes ago there was a ghost.
And so the last flash catches a spirit about to attack them, and that's where, as Liam predicted, the Zoom call expires. So how does this help the situation? If you really hate them that much, hold a seance and see them all get horrifically murdered by a spirit.
I thought you were saying, yeah. I suppose that's similar to what I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying, don't attend anymore because you will die.
No,
end them spectacularly and make a film out of it.
Surely it's more, don't stop the quizzes. just carry on doing them.
Well, it could be don't mix it up, just stick to the simple quizzes, or if you really want them to end, you could just not attend, I suppose, or you could hold a seance and let havoc wreak.
Here's saying no to your friends and just not attending, or inviting a medium who calls up spirits and kills them all.
Yeah,
indirectly.
Those are your only two options.
Those are your only choices.
So I think I would suggest that staying on the quizzes is probably a good idea. I think quizzes are pretty good in general. I think we can all agree. They keep your brain active, don't they? Help you learn new things to an extent. And James Brown, he'll be the first to tell you this.
You tell us, Liam, because you've been attending quizzes every week. What have you learned this week?
What I've learned this week. I've learned that the flags of Turkey and Tunisia are very similar. And I still can't tell the difference.
That is a shit fact. No one is listening to this podcast right now going, oh, wow.
This is the main problem. I can never remember any of the interesting things I learn on quizzes. Ever.
I mean, you're putting me on the spot a bit. I'm sure I could think of something before the end of the episode.
And also, that wasn't a very fair summary from Carl either, because he can't remember what he did 5 minutes ago. We have a conversation, and then the next day he asks the same question, and you go, Carl, we spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah, and then I pretend to remember. Oh, yeah, we did that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but just remind me of the whole conversation. Because I want to check you remember it. Anyway, sorry, Liam. Go on, James Brown.
Right. Yeah, James Brown. I mean, he'll be the first to tell you. I mean, he is dead, so he probably wouldn't be the first. But if he wasn't dead,
he might haunt you in a Zoom quiz.
Exactly. If you call a medium to your Zoom quiz, he might tell you first.
Can you just hold on a minute, because James Brown is just singing in my living room.
So actually, this could be the advice. Do the seance and get in touch with James Brown, and he'll tell you that you want to be careful about dropping out of anything education related. So he released a song in 1966 called "Don't Be a Dropout," and this was one of his first attempts at a socially conscious song. Apparently, there's a line in it. He's talking in the song about one of his friends who's telling him the story, and the line goes, "Said he went for a job, and Mr. Man said, without an education, might as well be dead." So, some hard facts of life right there.
And when you are dead, you get called back by a medium.
Exactly.
And no wonder you're angry.
So James Brown was basically saying, look, kids, don't drop out of school. It's a bad idea. And this was fairly successful, and it led to him meeting the Len Goodman?
Goodman.
No. It led to him meeting the then Vice President, Hubert Humphrey, to discuss a stay-in-school program for the kids of America, presumably. Didn't actually look at that.
See, another half-assed fact.
That's what they come here for.
He met someone to talk about something.
Regarding some people.
But yeah, there's a simple message to it, don't be a dropout. And I'm sure he had Zoom quizzes in mind when he was singing it back in the 60s.
It's such a huge reach for you, Liam, but I do feel some sympathy, because it's quite a hard example for a song, isn't it?
I like the idea of bringing him back on a Zoom seance, though. I invite all spirits to get on up. Well, yeah, but you would say that, wouldn't you, Liam? You would say keep attending them, because you're doing it every week and you're a big Zoom quiz fan. I'm going to provide the opposite perspective. Fuck your friends.
Aaron's
Stop
angry
attending
point
the
at
Zoom
Liam.
quizzes. Fuck you, Liam. I don't even want to attend this recording. This virtual recording. I think, listener, Ingram, I think you should take a leaf out of Bartleby the Scrivener's book. Bartleby the Scrivener, A Story of Wall Street, is a story written by Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick. And he's a scribe who's hired by a lawyer to copy legal documents by hand. And when he gets there, he's really productive and he's doing shit like nobody can. And then, after a while, he just starts to refuse to do stuff. Every time he's asked, he's just like, I would prefer not to. And, if you don't want to attend these Zoom quizzes, that's the advice you should take. If you just, no is a one-word sentence. No is a answer on its own. You don't have to even explain why you're saying no. Just say, I prefer not to. Don't take it as far as Bartleby, though, because he ends up refusing to do literally anything, including eat, and he dies of starvation because he refuses to eat.
He's a stubborn man.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a weird story, but as I say, Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick, and apparently this story might be representative of his feelings towards his own writing at the time. But it's certainly representative of how you feel, Ingram. If you would prefer not to do any online quizzes, just say no. And if someone's going to make you feel bad about that, they're just being Moby Dickheads.
Bravo.
That's a zinger.
So it sounds like we're running out of examples. Anyone got any summary points for Ingram?
No, I think you're right. People need to learn to say no. And people need to learn to accept that people have wishes and it's not personal if they don't want to do something. I think you're right.
But you also shouldn't be a dropout because you learn new things at quizzes. Some flags are similar to other flags.
They really are. You should see them. I tell you what, have a look at them today and then I'll ask you next week if you remember the difference, and I bet you won't.
Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. So let's try and solve some problems.
Let's move on to problem 2. I forgot I wasn't on mute during a work meeting, and I'm pretty sure my boss heard me suggest that he shut the fuck up under my breath. He has seemed a bit off with me since, and I'm worried I've hurt my career. What should I do? I have done some stuff like this. I haven't said shut the fuck up, but I've like farted on a work call when I wasn't on mute, and then gone.
Oh no!
Would it have been obvious it was you? Were you like?
Well, exactly. That's the thing. So if you're on like a work call with 10 people, you can just go, maybe someone else wasn't on mute.
Except it comes up with your picture and a big outline, doesn't it, when it happens?
Yeah. And after I've farted, I go, get out and walk. So
your room just starts filling with a green gas or something.
And then I faint. So have you two done anything embarrassing on a work call?
Yeah, I was on camera once, and I'm pretty sure I picked my nose and didn't realise I was on
the
camera.
camera.
And I was like, oh god.
Flicked it at the camera. Let's think of a name for this person.
Smithers. No, he likes his boss.
Homer?
Yeah. Alright, we haven't got any better offers, so it might as well be Homer. Well, Homer, even if your boss heard and doesn't like you now, I don't think that should mean that you've hurt your career. And I've got some examples that will illustrate that point for you. Authors who have fallen out with their agents and haven't hurt their careers. Martin Amis left his agent, Pat Cavanagh, in 1995 after 23 years working together. Left her for a rival, Andrew Wiley, for a new £500,000 deal. Yeah. And yet, Martin Amis is still famous. And I've got another one. J.K. Rowling. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's an author.
Would she have written anything online?
That's
there were the Cormoran Strike books.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Robert Galbraith's
under a pseudonym,
wasn't it?
Yeah. J.K. Rowling left her agent Christopher Little after 16 years together in 2011, and Little discovered her. So he was extra disappointed. He felt betrayed, and this is an illustration of how that didn't hurt her career, because she earns £71 million a year, or £136 a minute. And on wordery.com, they provide a tool where you can work out how long it takes J.K. Rowling to earn your salary. So I did that, and it was very depressing. I won't reveal how long it was, because then you'll know how much I earned. But the point is, these these authors are still enjoying, no small amount of success. So it should illustrate to you, Homer, that even if he did hear "shut the fuck up," you haven't necessarily hurt your career.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'd say to you, Homer, is that there seems to be a bit of an elephant in the room here, which is, it sounds like you're not.
I can't see it, Liam.
No, I mean it's there,
it's just
Carl.
Out of
you're
shot.
just not talking about it. It sounds like you're not very happy with your boss, maybe with your job, and I think
I can hear him building up to an immense stretch.
I mean, not being honest about these things is sometimes not the best policy. You could take a leaf out of Morrissey's book, and you could be very blunt about it.
Oh, boss, you can shut the fuck up.
So I am referring to the Smiths' 1986 album, The Queen is Dead, on which there's a song called Frankly Mr. Shankly. I don't know if you know it. And it's actually about allegedly, it's written for the Rough Trade record label boss, Jeff Travis. And it was written when the Smiths were really unhappy about the current situation and they wanted to leave the label. And the first line in the song goes, "Frankly, Mr. Shankly, this position I've held, it pays my way and it corrodes my soul." It's your classic Morrissey be very eloquently talking about how unhappy he is. one of the lines says, "I want to leave. You shall not miss me." And there's also a couple of really outright rude sequences in it as well. He makes a reference to Mr. Shankly's bloody awful poetry, which apparently was based on a real incident where this Jeff Travis guy wrote a poem and gave it to him. And in the song, it's just like, "I didn't realise you wrote poetry. I didn't realise you wrote such bloody awful poetry." Which seemed a little bit harsh. And towards the end, he calls him a flatulent pain in the arse as well, which is very Morrissey, isn't it? So probably, maybe don't go that far. But the moral of the story is, if you are honest about it, and you put everything out there, and it might not end that badly for you, because obviously the Smiths did leave Rough Trade eventually. Maybe that wasn't obvious, but that is what happened. And they became very successful, or maybe they already were successful. Either way, it didn't go badly for Morrissey.
Yeah, and everything I see, hear, and read about Morrissey tells me that he's a really nice guy.
Really?
No.
Have you two have been musicians in the same band? Have you ever done diss tracks against each other?
Yeah. We had a big feud in the 90s.
We did it under a pseudonym though. I think mine was Eamon.
Yeah. Your sex was whack. What is the advice there, though, Liam? That you're telling him? What is you're saying he might be unhappy in his job. So what? Leave his job? Or just be honest with his boss?
Be honest about things. Be open. If you're really unhappy,
Shut the fuck up, boss.
We've said it before. Your happiness is paramount, and you might want to find success elsewhere, like Morrissey did. That's apparently the advice.
I had that situation once. I don't know if I talked about it before, but I hated it. But my first instinct was to just get on with it and work through it and try and make it good. But then some friends of mine in the same team were like, they're older and more experienced, said sometimes things just don't work. Your face don't fit in a team, so your happiness is paramount. So leave, do something else.
Were they telling you to fuck off, Carl?
They did, yeah. They said,
"Look, your face doesn't fit in this team."
Did you leave?
He said I did leave, yeah, and flourished since, in fact.
So my advice wasn't actually bad.
He's so surprised.
No, I think so.
But take it with caution, Homer. Don't just leave your job tomorrow because
and don't call your boss.
Might have been heard saying "shut the fuck up."
And don't call your boss a flatulent pain in the arse.
Until after you leave.
Yeah.
So I struggled with a film for this, which you two probably will tell me there's an obvious one. So I've gone with an episode of The Office USA, season 4, episode 16. Did I Stutter? In 2008. Directed by Randall Einhorn, and that reminded me of you, Liam.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah, Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Remember Aaron?
Yeah.
Cool.
Laces out.
So in this episode, Michael, the boss, he calls an emergency meeting asking everyone to come up with an idea to reinvigorate the office. And he asks Stanley, who is like a old stalwart of the office, who doesn't have time for any of the crap, to give an idea, but he's preoccupied with his crossword puzzle and refuses to participate. But Michael keeps on and asking him, Stanley, come on. And then Stanley snaps and goes, "Did I stutter?" Wow, that really reverberated. In a loud and threatening tone. I could have read that and not actually did the loud and threatening tone.
It's what we said before, Carl. You're the Daniel Day-Lewis of podcasting. You really throw yourself into it.
Yeah, I'm currently wearing a podcasting outfit.
He's come to the podcast dressed as a microphone.
I've lived as a microphone for a year now.
I've just been absorbing sound.
And so Michael ends the meeting in a sad way, and Toby, the HR representative, tells Michael to take disciplinary action because Stanley has disrespected him in front of everyone in the office. So Michael, being Michael, he pretends to fire Stanley in front of everyone, And then Stanley goes absolutely crazy and he threatens to sue and tell corporate all about Michael's stupid shenanigans in the office. And then Michael tells him it was a pretend firing. And so Stanley goes even crazier. And then Michael barks at him to stop it. And he tells everyone to leave the office. And everyone thinks, oh, he's really going to give it to Stanley. But then Michael cries and asks him why he doesn't like him. And Stanley says simply, he doesn't respect him. He goes, Michael, I've known you for a very long time. And the more I've gotten to know you, the less I've come to respect you. And then Michael, this is like, I remember saying to my wife when we watched this episode, Michael does the first thing, well, the only time I've ever seen him do something right. He says to Stanley, well, that might be the case, Stanley, but you can't talk to me like that in front of everyone else. Mm-hmm. If you don't respect me, fine, but don't disrespect me in front of the whole team because I'm the boss. And Stanley says, fair enough, and they shake hands. It doesn't sound like a funny episode. But
well, not when you describe it like that, no.
No. But for anyone that does know The Office, it's the same episode where Dwight buys Andy's car really cheaply, then sells it for like a huge profit in the same day without doing anything to it. So, you know, if you have got something to say to your boss, maybe it's good to air your grievances.
What always frustrated me about the American Office was Michael is just such a shit boss and he's so horrible to people and stuff. But in a funny way, obviously, because it's Steve Carell. But, like, stripping back all of the comedy, he's a dickhead. And, like, he's egotistical and stuff. But then you feel sorry for him in scenes like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I shouldn't be feeling sorry for you.
And the longer it goes
You're
on,
a knob.
yeah, they like, his kind of ending in the whole series is like everyone endears that he endears himself to everyone, don't they? And like they're sad that he goes, even though in real life you would quit immediately if this guy was your boss, like they do when some of the other department joined them, and like out of 6 of them, 4 of them quit on the first day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think my point is quite similar to Liam. I think you should, if you've got a problem, say it.
Again, I would advise caution. Just because, I mean, what if you two are like that's solid advice if he heard the shut the fuck up, but if he didn't, to just hang out all your dirty laundry just because
the point
in for a penny in for a pound.
It's not so much that he might have heard it; it's the point that you felt the need to say it in the first place indicates that there's something underneath it, isn't there?
I mean, I quite like my job. But I've been on calls where I've thought people are talking and I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Shut up. I'm sure we all have. So.
Especially where no one cares about the call or the content and then someone asks a question in like minute 59 and you're like, we're on the home straight here. What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, see?
So if you do really enjoy the job, then the advice is don't worry about it. I think.
Yeah. Well, I hope we helped, Homer. And that is all we've got time for in this first of our lockdown lights. Check out the episode notes or agonyartpodcast.com to find links to all the media we mentioned today and for a link to the Agony Art Spotify playlists where you can listen to the songs that Liam suggests. And if you've got a problem you'd like us to attempt to solve, you can reach us on our group Instagram and Twitter accounts at Agony Art Podcast or on the submissions page on our website. I want to thank our resident Agony uncles for their contributions. Thanks, Liam. Thank you, Carl.
No, it's alright. It's just that twat Aaron talking. Oh shit, I'm on mute.
I was going to say, I'm so proud that now that we've got through this whole thing without saying you're on mute. It's impressive.
It's because none of us have been on mute. That's why it's so fucking noisy. And thank you, listeners, for listening. We will be back next week with more problems to muddle our way through and more entertainment for you to check out. See ya.
Bye. But I'd suggest keep it light, 'cause their advice can be shite, and they won't be held liable. Oh no, not at all, not here at Agony Art. Agony Art. Agony
Agony on.